Hello, Aquarius. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. Happy birthday and happy Valentine's Day to you. All right, Aquarius, so interesting here. From Lay Vampire, you pulled Call for Help, Reach Out, Need for Backup, and Admit Your Needs. And then from Chakra Wisdom, you pulled Renewal. So what I feel like here is once you reach out for that help, there's going to be a new phase in your life here with Renewal. Now, Call for Help. One of the things that it talks about is working with protection and like shielding techniques. But it also does talk about removing untrustworthy people from your space. So this call for help or reaching out for help could be from, your support system, your friends and family, people around you that you trust. But it could also be you needing to reach out to source, to your guides, to your angels here, but it's all about you getting, a renewal in your life. Now, this is saying that what seems to be an ending may not be, that you need to trust that whatever is coming to you is going to be better than what you have known before. Now, the card at a glance says you are being offered a chance to awaken to a new life. You may need to deepen your roots and anchor yourself by taking stock of what you would like to create. This is a time to start again and grow a strong foundation. So once you admit what your needs are, I think that that's when that renewal will kick in for some of you. Here's your overall for the week. The Two of Swords, needing to make a difficult choice, possibly ignoring a situation, not really wanting to deal with it right now. One of the things that I talk about with the Two of Swords, other than possibly guarding yourself emotionally, it's one of those things where when you're faced with a choice where you may miss out on something else, a lot of times we tend to stay at the stalemate. Like, damn it, I don't really want to make a choice on this right now. I'm not ready. I'm not ready for, an option to be completely done with and over with. It's like not being able to go one way or the other just yet. But it's going to be about making a difficult choice in a situation for some of you. Now, in the past, the Magician, hell yeah, manifesting some cool ass shit. I love it when the Magician shows up. I do not think that this has to do with manipulation, but it's really about your confidence in your ability to create the things that you want. You have what you need to do it, right? And we hear that all the time with the Magician. But the other thing that, for me is important with this one is it's like pulling from the mind of God, right? Tapping into the source and pulling that divine inspiration down to earth and making it real. So in the past here, you're pulling on this, but, it's really about what is it that you're manifesting and why is it that there is a difficult choice that has to be made. Now, in the present, you and Cap here with the Queen of Wands. So now for some of you, possibly dealing with a person, could be a fire sign. But like I said, the big thing for me with the Queen of Wands when she shows up, especially when I'm doing readings for people, is it's a question of self-image. It's about being more confident in who you are. Having that enthusiasm for something, having passion, but being able to manage everything that's going on, feeling good, looking good, and maintaining that confidence in your ability to create the things that you have been thinking about here with the Magician. But still, I'm looking at that Two of Swords going, why? Why? Okay. Future conditions, the Nine of Pentacles. So self-reliance and independence here, but there is abundance, which is good. And with the Queen of Wands being above that, I think for most of you, you don't have any problems whatsoever on, creating money, creating stability. But what I worry about, like I said, is with the Two of Swords being there, it's one of those things where if you have to make a choice, how is it going to affect what you have worked for with the Nine of Pentacles, right? Are you going to have to give up a little bit of abundance and independence here because there's something else that maybe you want? I still think that you look fine. I'm so sorry, you guys, this stupid cold. Like you look fine as far as what is going on in the material world. But what is happening with you spiritually? You know, I don't think that there's any problem with you creating abundance, but like I said, choice. Your best path to follow, the Fool. Needing to take a leap of faith, yes. This is one of those things where if you have to make a difficult choice, with the Fool being your best path to follow, it's basically saying that you're going to have to make this choice and you're going to have to go with it, even though you may not know what is going to happen later. It's almost like saying, don't worry about, your security and stability. There are still going to be opportunities for you to create this. And I don't think that you're looking at any major loss as far as that goes. I think that that is the concern. Or for some of you, it's really about making the choice now to become independent. But, whatever it is you decide to do, you have to go with it. You have to go with it here with the Fool. I don't think that this is a situation of being foolish. I don't think that it's going to be where you're like jumping off and then like kind of hanging onto the edge going, oh shit, I just think that you need to make a choice and do it in your environment. So for some of you, it could be about work, right? When I look at the Eight of Pentacles, other than somebody who's busting their ass here, it is about seeing, the results of the hard work that you're putting through. But this is somebody who knows what they're doing. When you're at the 3 for the Pentacles, you're starting to show off what you can do. By the time you hit the 8, you're an expert. So clearly here, you know what you're doing, especially when it comes to work and creating abundance and financial security. But I think that there may be like a choice that needs to be made on whether or not you want to do something else. Because again, the Magician coming through is suggesting that you're thinking about something bigger and better, but again, with that 2 of Swords, it's like, now for some of you, it could be, getting to a point of clarity though, too, like where you may have had a difficult time choosing on whether or not you want to continue the work you're doing. It's like being a little bit more clear on that. Hopefully, I'm hoping. Your hopes and your fears, the Knight of Wands, having a passion for what you do. And that may be, the issue is needing to get passion back into your life. The Knight of Wands is one of those things too, though, where it's like a whirlwind of passion and then out the fucking door. But I don't think that something is coming in and out. I think that we're talking about, you having a passion for what you do and needing to continue to follow that, especially if you have really good ideas on how you can like enhance this. But I think that there's a question on whether or not you want to continue this, whether there's something else you've been thinking about doing, what that means for your security and stability. But like I said, with the Queen of Wands, I don't think that you have a problem with creating that stability and that abundance. But I do think that with the Knight of Wands being there, it's like needing to have passion again, passion and drive, and having that return to you. Sometimes when we work at something for so long, we can lose interest. But I still think that whatever it is that ultimately you choose to do, you need to have faith that you're making the right choice for yourself. And then coming out, very nice. Very nice. Look at it. And then you have the Magician right next to that, the Ace of Swords. So getting mental clarity. Absolute mental clarity on what you want to do. Maybe some new fresh ideas that you're going to start working on here. Knowing now what the right choice is for you. And it looks great. All right. So, like I said here, when we're talking about a hard choice, it may be that you want to start something new here, but there may be like a little bit of fear around this because the Tower would suggest that everything needs to be cleared away in order for you to start something new here. Whether we're talking about a job or relationship, I think it has to do with work and what you're doing. But with the Five of Cups coming out, it's one of those things, like I said, if you make a choice, you have to go for it. You can't look back at the fact that, now it's lost what you were doing before. You have to look at what you still have available to you to build on. I think that there needs to be a renewed passion for what you're doing, a new passion for, relationships possibly. Some of you, maybe like clearing away all the garbage that you've been through before as far as that goes. But like I said, I think that this has more to do with, what you know how to do, and you know how to do it well. But I worry that, and again, you know, with the Two of Swords being there, that the choice to do this means that everything is going to be, you know, from the ground level again. And with the Page of Pentacles, they're willing to work from the bottom to the top and put in the work that's necessary to get to where they want to be and make what they want a reality. But I worry about what that means later on with the Five of Cups. You know, and like I said, for some of you, it could be that, you know, you're worried about the loss of some financial stability and security. For some of you, there may be like a little bit of regret almost. You know, but the other thing though too is that you can't continue doing things that don't make you happy, right? I just worry that some of you go through on this and then look back and then, you know, feel bad about the fact that you didn't think about what that was going to mean as far as starting over on something. But like I said, with the Fool being there though, it's like Spirit is telling you, whatever you choose to do, go for it. But have faith that you are doing the right thing for you, you know? Interesting. All right, let's take a look at the soul trees and see what other messages there are for you guys. And then freedom. Yes, freedom and independence to do what you want to do. Okay, so the beginning. And again, I'm looking back at renewal. And even looking at the Tower, it feels like you think that this is an ending, and it may be difficult, especially emotionally, but it is a new beginning for you. And it is understanding that what's coming is going to be better than what you've known. But the beginning of something new for you, absolutely. The crown chakra, it's being open to source and letting that information come through. Or as, you know, my friend from Aquarian Insight, Jay, says, getting a download, right? But ultimately going into freedom and having freedom as far as like what you choose to do, as far as work and how you create your own stability. It's not bad. I just kind of worry about what that means for you later on, you know, with the Five of Cups. But I don't think it's one of those things where there's going to be any like major loss. I think you understand that with the Ace of Swords being what's kicking that off. Like you have that clarity. You know what it means. If I make this choice, everything has to be wiped away. But emotionally, I think it may be a little bit difficult. But definitely appreciate the moment, right? Live in the moment. That is where your power is within the moment. You know, it's not about what's going to happen later on or what's going to happen tomorrow, right? What can you do right now to help your situation? But growing, right? And again, have faith. Have faith in the choice that you make for yourself, you know? And I'm looking at that crown chakra and back at the Magician going, yes, it's God speaking to you, right? The divine source telling you that you're right to act on the new ideas that you may have though too. But definitely have some faith in this. Okay, Aquarius, so I think that some of you are facing a difficult choice here, but I think you already know what this means. And I think it may have to do with work for some of you. Now, I don't question your ability here to create financial security and abundance with these two. You know, I think you're good as far as that goes. And clearly here, you know what you're doing with the Eight of Pentacles being in your environment, but it could just simply be a question here of whether or not you still have a passion for what you're doing. Because I do think that there is a need for some more passion, some more drive. And for you to follow your passions, especially if you have some really good ideas coming through with the Magician. Now, again, like you already know. It's like you already know what's going to happen if you make this choice or if you decide to do something else. Because again, there's mental clarity coming through here. And with the Page of Pentacles, again, you know, willing to do what it takes here to get what you want. But understanding that some things need to be cleared away. Because again, you are looking at renewal and call for help. Right? Needing to admit that you may need help with something here, but then having a renewal after you admit that, which is great. But like I said, you know, I worry about what it means in the long run with the Five of Cups, but on the other hand here, it may just be that you need to clear away all those negative emotions. You know, but it's still, it's whatever new things and new ideas are coming through, I think that you have an ability to make it a reality. It's just that there may be something else that needs to be cleared away. And again, it's a question of passion and having passion for what you're doing. Now, as far as the beginning, the crown chakra and freedom, right? The beginning of something new here, you tapping into the source, being available for that information to come through, but ultimately it's about freedom, freedom to choose what you want to do. And again, independence and freedom seems to be the big thing coming out here. Now, as far as whispers of love, appreciate the moment and have faith, right? Have faith. Have faith in what you're deciding to do here. But appreciate all the moments that you have. And again, your power is within the moment. But I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think that maybe some of you have been working really hard at something, and it's like you need to have a passion for it again. You know, and there may be some new things that, you know, you need to work on. You may have to clear some things out here, but I think you already know what that means. But it doesn't look bad coming out. And, you know, again, Aquarius, with renewal, right, it may seem like an ending, but really it's not. And something better is definitely going to come out of this.